you found the skeleton, how would you tell it's a dinosaur? You personally, how would you decide?
Well, interesting question. I don't know. I'd have to do some research on that.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tisdall Tuesday with me and Chesh. I am still on my laptop. My not very good, but absurdly expensive laptop. Because, I don't know if you guys know, the price of electronics has gone through the roof. So, yeah. Also, Chesh, did you know I don't have I don't have a right control button.
What?
The button on my keyboard that should be right control has a co-pilot symbol, and if I click it, co-pilot pops up.
My debate hub screen just gave me the best screenshot of you I've ever seen in my life, and I'm sending it to you right now.
I will have to take a look.
You have to look at this. I'm also still loading up the screen so I can see people's chat. Hi guys, you guys gotta everybody. See this screenshot of Dapper. It's so
I don't have
good.
an easy way to put it up right now, but I'll work on that.
You don't. We'll save it for later.
Okay.
We'll save it.
All right.
I promise. I promise I will get it to you guys somehow. If you're in my Discord, you'll have it already. Don't worry about it.
I'll tell you what.
Hi.
In addition to whatever else I have for the live chat super chat goal, if we get it, I will put that as a community post on my channel.
Oh yeah, yes.
That'll be another
You
incentive.
look like you got punched in the face.
I do look like I got punched in the face.
Did you get punched in the face?
I don't think so. I think I would remember, but unless the punch was hard enough to erase my memory.
Maybe you got punched over the internet by some crazy.
I mean, I was talking to Chris Shelton. Maybe it was Chris.
No, maybe Chris punched him in the face.
All right, new rumor, everybody. Now Chris Shelton and I have beef because Chris Shelton punched me in the face. Neurometer puts for $2 says a dedicated co-pilot button is incredibly cursed. It super is, and apparently that's a thing for just a lot of laptops right now. Is you get a Windows laptop and it's just like boom, dedicated co-pilot button. A button dedicated to launch a program I don't even want to exist. Never mind be on my computer.
That's god awful.
Yeah, the absolute first thing I did with this computer was remove the shortcut and the taskbar pin for Copilot. That was the absolute first thing I did after it was, set up, obviously.
Copilot, for anybody who doesn't know, is basically
it's a shittier version of Cortana after Windows figured out that no one liked Cortana. So they were like, what if we make a shittier version of it? Because at least Cortana didn't lie to you.
Yeah. Valid.
All right, so
valid.
The first thing I want to go over now that we've been going live for a little bit already is the first thing I want to say is we are still running the fundraiser. The fundraiser will count for things like getting bent pizza or fancy avatar. I do want to let you guys know the last stream we did in fact this was on Saturday. We did in fact get bent some pizza. So he got a large pizza with I believe pepperoni and mushroom. I think. So
you should get garlic brushed on the underside. Usually that's free.
I will consider that for next time. But yeah, so he got a pizza, and also there's going to be a fancy dapper avatar. I'm actually working on a. So I can't give away too much, but someone sent me something that is going to become a new dapper dinosaur avatar, and I'm currently working to make it work. I am almost done with that project, and then we will have a new dapper dinosaur avatar. And you will like it. And as a way of a hint, don't spoil it in chat, but it's going to be called Brick Dapper. Lieutenant Math Navigator, who's been a member for 15 months, is at the amulet level says, well, if you ever feel useless, ponder the existence of a button dedicated to co-pilot. Yeah, seriously. Jeez.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That should make you feel better about whether or not you're useless, is that there is a...
Yeah, no, if you ever wanted to feel better about yourself, at least you're not that.
Yeah, right-handed Sid says, I don't like Windows Cortana, but Master Chief's Cortana was okay. Yeah, she was fine. Well, until they kind of ruined that whole character. And then realized they ruined her, so they just kind of killed her off camera. You know what? I don't want to get started talking about, like, 343...
Halo lore?
Halo storylines, because it's just going to piss me off. Right? I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Anyway, so as far as an update on how the whole computer situation is going, right now I'm at the point where I have retrieved my computer from the shop. I have a laptop, and I have a clone of my C drive on an external drive. And my next thing is to fill out all the paperwork for the manufacturer tomorrow and try to get that shipped off at like FedEx or something, where I'm going to have to pay to have them package it. I'm going to have to pay for the insurance. So right now, so you know how I'm using this money that you've given me. The laptop was about $1,400. The repair shop was about $200, and the hard drive and all that was about $500 because it's a pretty hefty hard drive. So that is let's see, 16, about $2,100, and I'm still gonna have to pay for shipping, packaging, and insurance. And so right now I have about $500 left for all that, and I don't know how much of it will take up. So yeah. So there we go. That is the update there. And now it is time to talk about the fact that we are here to talk primarily about Tisdall Tuesday, not give you updates on my tech and maybe, I don't know, not for loud pounding on the keyboard. My goodness. You're going to break that keyboard.
If you want, I'm not even going to do, maybe it's from all the years of piano. I'm actually smashing this thing way harder than I think I am.
You're going to break a nail.
No. Look at my nails. No. Look at, they're so pretty.
They are nice. Very shiny.
I know.
Are you
I was taking care of them today.
Oh.
Yeah, they got a little bit of polish on them. I've been taking care of them today. There are a couple of debate hub things if you guys want to know.
No, that's for the end. That's when we tell everyone at the end.
Oh, okay.
Right. All right.
Okay, so you gotta wait till the end.
Lawrence Tisdall is a French-Canadian young Earth creationist from Quebec. And he has a lot of the classic creationist tropes, although he also did the most dishonest thing I've ever seen a young Earth creationist do. And that is, he presented a list of sentences as things that they're teaching the kids in school. And we thought this was bizarre because neither Chesh nor I was familiar with any of these things as things that anyone was teaching anybody. So we looked into it. We looked at his source. It turns out these were a list of false statements to be used as true-false questions where the child is supposed to choose the false option. Because, it's not always easy to come up with plausible-sounding false options for your true-false section as a teacher, whereas the true statements are easy, right? So this was just like a guide for, hey, if you're teaching kids about evolution and biology and stuff like that, here are some false things that seem plausible if the kid hasn't been paying attention. You can use these. And he was like, this is what they're teaching the kids. So yeah. That was incredibly dishonest. He also is famous for handing his balls out and having the entire room, touch and hold and feel and sometimes bounce his balls. So he's famous for that. And this time, he's been telling us how radiometric dating is fake, actually, because contamination and leaching can occur, as if we couldn't check for those things, which, of course, we can. So for those of you who might not know or who might be new or whatever, we run this show as a bit of a drinking game. Also, why is the super chat that I read not showing up on the list?
I don't know. I can't answer that question.
Well, that's weird. Because it should have. All right, well, we'll see what happens. Sorry. To go back to that thought, we drew this as a bit of a drinking show. I have some whiskey and cola here. I don't know what Chesh has. Chesh, did you bring a drink? Tea? You're gonna need something stronger than tea.
I got gin over there, ready to go. If I'm in enough pain,
you will be. You will be.
I will be. I inevitably I will be, and I will regret being here. Regret everything.
Just remember, this was your idea.
Shut up.
You approached me. You were like, Dapper, we should cover this guy, this Lawrence Tisdall guy.
You rub this in every time.
All right, clearly this thing is a little bit broken and it's not working. So I'm going to end it. Start a new super chat goal. We're going to go 50.
I'm gonna cry.
All colors. 2 hours. You know the deal is the goal. All right, and I'm going to count it as already having 2 in there. So if it gets to 48, that counts as being done. I don't know what's going on there. Dutch Tunicate official for $2 says, Tisdall, yes, funnel my spheres. Yes, that does sound like him, actually. So we will drink whenever the creationist says something that's so stupid we just kind of have to because it's brain cooling. We will also drink anytime the creationist tells a joke that doesn't land, tells a story that didn't happen, or says something that's actually factually accurate, but it can't just be something he's reading out of someplace. It actually has to be like ideas from his own brain. If he's just reading it, then that's whatever the source is getting it right, not the creationist. Let's see. We will also take a drink if we'll stick with him. If he mentions that political party from the 1930s into the 40s in Germany that we all know about, we will also take a drink if he mixes up what we can know about Lucy, the specific specimen of Australopithecus afarensis, based on her skeleton, with what we can know about any wider taxon to which she belongs based on any of the skeletons that have been found. So, for instance, if he says something like, oh, well, we don't know if Lucy could walk upright because we don't have her feet. Yeah, well, we have the feet of other Australopithecines, so it doesn't matter. We'll also take a drink if he cites a source, we check the source, and not only does it fail to support him, but if it actively contradicts him, we take a drink for that. We've taken a few drinks for him for that one so far. We'll also take a drink if he... What am I missing? I don't know what I'm missing. If either Cheshire or I can predict what he's about to say, then we'll take a drink for that. By the way, the one about the Lucy, that's called ad hominid, and we only get one of those. The one about the sources is called a Trojan source. We'll also take a drink if I screw up the production. So, for instance, if I forget to turn off the intro video when we come back from break, or if I accidentally mute Chesh or myself or the video or something like that, we'll take a drink for Dapper's a professional. Now, if it is not under my control, for instance, if the internet goes out, or YouTube HQ blows up, or something like that, or maybe my computer decides to die in a fire, like my last computer, that's not on me, so that's not a Dapper's a professional. We'll also take a drink if anyone sends anything in a super chat or membership milestone chat to the effect that Answers in Genesis or AIG are a bag of dicks. We'll also take a drink for if any super chat or membership milestone chat that includes any of our kaiju emoji, which include Godzilla, Mothra, and King Ghidorah, or for every gifted membership. So if you gift 5 memberships, I will take 5 drinks. The gifted memberships are probably the easiest way to get me to take a whole bunch of drinks. And let's see. I think that covers it. If I've forgotten any... Oh, wait, if Mothra or Godzilla come by audibly, we'll also take a drink for that.
That's so many drinking rules.
Okay, we'll go get a drink then.
So many rules.
I'm going to hit play now. Are you ready?
Do it.
Okay.
No, it's fine. I don't need to be...
Is that reasonable? So what happens is that when you have water, the argon sticks around, the potassium goes, and your rock becomes instantly old.
Yep, that's called leaching. And no, that's not what happens. What actually happens is that then on your isochron plot, it's no longer linear, and you know that you've had leaching or contamination, and therefore you know you can't make the assumptions, and so you have to use different dating techniques. That's it. That's all that happens.
It doesn't become instantly old.
Right. It will read old on potassium argon dating, but it won't read old on the other ones, which means you'll have discordant dates, which means you know something's wrong. Because typically, we don't test rocks with only one technique, because all of the radiometric dating techniques have overlapping ranges in where they're useful. And so you pick 2 or 3 or 4, as many as you can, that are useful within the range of what you expect the rock to be. And if one of them is really weird, well, then you have a problem. And if a whole bunch of the other ones line up, well, then you can say, well, there's probably some kind of contamination or leaching problem with whatever this one is that's off. And you can go with the consensus. But if they're all over the place, well, then you just can't date that rock. Big deal. Go date a different rock.
I like this take a drink for too many drinking rules.
Yeah. But remember, if dating one rock doesn't work, you can go date another rock. There are a lot of rocks in the sea.
Yeah, just listen, it is important to verify that rock's age before you start dating it.
Yes, also important.
In no time. And our atmosphere contains argon, and of that argon, 99.6 is argon 40. So the quantity is 100 times superior to the quantity that we produce by the degradation of potassium. So it's
100
Okay,
100
so
times.
I need to figure out what he's trying to say there. So
Good luck.
the argon
You're on
in
your
the
own.
atmosphere,
I'm not helping with this.
apparently the argon in the atmosphere is going to soak into the rock. But rock is not generally just air permeable. Air just doesn't travel through rock. And even if it did, it would have to go into a place with a lot of areas where argon could seep into and then get trapped. But because argon is chemically inert, that doesn't happen much. So, like, there's no reason to think that atmospheric argon is going to be contaminating igneous rocks. Like, I'm not even sure that's physically possible. So that's dumb, and I'm going to take a drink for it. In case anyone is wondering, the reason I have gameplay footage here at the bottom of, or under the Tisdall movie, is literally because I don't think this computer can handle running all of this and the fundraising thing at the same time. And so I now have a blank spot, and so I just figured I'd fill it with gameplay footage. So there you go. All right, Goop23 for $5 says, Geodude mom cheering up her son, you can go date a different rock. Exactly. Or Geodude. Isn't that your favorite, Chesh?
No.
Oh, Zubat. Zubat's your favorite. Whose favorite is Geodude? I know
like
someone
Zubat.
whose favorite is Geodude.
My mom has been playing Pokemon for the first time ever. Like she didn't really do video games ever, but she's starting to get into them a little bit. And so I've had her playing Pokemon Fire Red with me, and we've been recording it, and she's about to get into Mount Moon, so she's about to experience Zubat.
Nice. Is she gonna catch one?
That's gonna be fun. I don't know. She's been pretty good on catching like all of the. There's only one Pokemon that she's seen and hasn't caught yet, and that's Nidoran. She's caught like a Mankey and a Caterpie. She's got a Beedrill already.
Okay.
Like she's got Pidgeotto. She's doing good.
Sapphire hold on, Big Swamp Denier Light for $5 says, wait, why are y'all wasting time playing the video?
Denier. Sorry.
Wait, why y'all wasting time playing the video instead of just complaining about the video tags? Mothra emoji here. We'll take a drink for that. And yeah, I know we should get on Metatron's level. We gotta get on Metatron's level, really. I mean,
oh my god, that was so dumb.
He is one of the last defenders of Western civilization, Chesh. We really do need to get on his level.
Admittedly, I don't think I've ever done a stream where I felt like I've wasted more of my time. Like I felt more like I've wasted my time. Like there's been streams where I've watched where I'm like, okay, this is kind of a waste of my time. I don't know if I felt like my soul was being drained. I'm like, this is such a waste of life. What are we doing here?
We're talking about
Unreal. No, when I was watching
I know.
That one.
I'm just saying that's what we're doing.
Thank you for joining me for that. And also, by the way, thank you for bringing it back up. Great. I don't think about that more.
BioSteve17 has joined the channel at the tetrapod level. Everyone get your tetrapod emojis in. No pelagic tunicates. It'll scare people off. It's like you guys
Dutch,
want my channel
I've covered Metatron, so if you want to go check that out, you can. But if you want me to bring and drag Dapper on to cover a Metatron video, I can also do that. It would be probably very funny.
That might have to be a different super chat goal.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Because we've got the two main ones. What was the other one that we decided on?
Were we gonna read Prawn?
No, we're already doing. That's already a thing.
Yeah, but that was one of the ones we did.
What I promised to do was the third one, because now I'm forgetting, because it's been a crazy day.
Let's look at
it's been a crazy day and also like a crazy week.
This is Mount Gurahu, and there's been 70 eruptions since 1839, 17 eruptions since 1954, and stronger eruptions since 1975. So we're going to measure where we're there. So we know this. These are samples. We know they're less than 50 years old. We know that, okay, because we've been there. So the real age is less than 50 years, 100% certain. Okay? Now when we take those samples to a lab, what do we get? 270, you can't see this because I'm in the way, but 270,000 years, 1 million years, 1.5 million years, 3.5 million years. But we know it is 50 years old.
Okay, so first of all, we got to talk about this. So this is Steve Austin's dating, right? Ooh, we do have to read the Kenthoven filing thing, but I don't think that's what I wanted to do as a goal.
I like that you have Warhammer in the corner for no reason.
I described the reason for this. We're both forgetting things. I think both of us are catching the forgets. We're catching big dumb.
We both only got one brain cell right now.
That's how I felt for this like past week and a half, honestly. Like
brain fog.
So Steve Austin brought the samples to the Geocron laboratory. And one of the things, if you were to go use the Wayback Machine to look at their website, because they no longer really exist in the way they did before, is that they would tell you that they cannot test samples that are thought to be lower than 10 million years reliably. Which means all of the dates below 10 million years, that's essentially the same as saying it's brand new. They can't tell the difference between that and brand new, right? So if you get a sample that's less than 50 years old and you send it to someone who's like, hey, any number less than 10 million is basically the same as 0. What are you going to get? Numbers that look exactly like this. This is exactly what you're going to get.
Less than 0?
Yeah, you're going to get numbers that are less than 10 million. And they're going to be some number between 0 and... Well, they're not going to be 0, but some number between like a few 100,000 and 10 million. And all of those numbers mean the same thing. They mean effectively we can't tell. It's too young. And that's what he got. Now, for some reason not on here is one sample that was actually older than that. And that one is the one that Steve Austin really likes to hold up because he can't... You can't just claim, well, the laboratory couldn't do it. But the problem is that... as a number of people have pointed out, if there were xenocrystal inclusions, which are much older crystals inside the crystals formed by the Mount St. Helens rock, which we know exist in Mount St. Helens, and those are included in your sample, then what you're actually doing is getting an average age of the much older crystals with the newer crystals, which is not what you want, because you want only the newer crystals.
It's almost like you can use these things as references to ensure that you're actually getting correct dates based on the context of where you're getting these from.
Yep. And
that's the point. That's the whole point.
In Steve Austin's little article that he wrote, I'm not going to call it a paper, but his little article that he wrote, he included pictures of all the samples.
Valid.
And guess which one has what looks visually like xenocrystal in it? Yeah, the one that's old enough. And you know what Steve Austin's response was when he was told, like, hey, this looks like you're getting an anomalously old age because of xenocrystal inclusions? His response was, no.
No. What do you mean, no?
That was his response. It's like, no.
That's not a response. That doesn't...
I agree. It's not a response. But you know what creationists don't tend to do is give good responses.
People are unreal.
Do you know what Mark Armitage's response was to being told that his Triceratops horn was probably a Bison latifrons horn? His response was, it was to say that bison don't have bone cores for their horns, which is just not true.
What?
Yep.
What?
Yep. It was basically to say bison don't have that bone, even though they very much do have that bone. Yeah. It's dumb.
That's so dumb.
I know.
Got a problem.
There it is.
Right?
No, we don't.
Yes.
No, Lawrence.
No, you.
I don't know, Lawrence, if you know better. Because Lawrence might just be an idiot who's never looked into this stuff. And he was just like, well, a creationist said it. Oh, hey, drink for Godzilla. So yeah, Lawrence might just be an idiot who just has never bothered to check into this. But I need you guys to understand that.
Then he shouldn't be doing a talk about it.
Well, yeah, obviously. But these dates are a lie, and that's a problem for creationism. I'm not saying Lawrence is lying. When I say something is a lie, what I mean it is untrue in a easily verifiable and not really reasonably contestable manner, right? When I say someone is lying, that means they are attempting to deceive me, regardless of the truth value of whatever claim they're making. So, for instance, if a flat earther tells you, yeah, the Earth is actually a globe, that person is lying to you. If a flat earther tells you the Earth is flat, saying that, he's telling you a lie, but he's not lying. And that's how I use those words.
Keep going. More results. Hawaii. This is in red. You have when the rock was formed.
Okay, so we're now just going through the greatest hits of creationists intentionally misusing radiometric dating techniques to get bad dates, and then claiming that therefore the dates are wrong. This is similar to when like a flat earther is like, well, why don't we just make a ruler big enough to measure the curvature of the Earth? It's like, well, because of material science, it's physically impossible. What would that?
How would you even start to do that?
Yeah, you wouldn't. Because they think like, well, what if we had like a 4-mile long ruler? And the answer is, well, what material could be perfectly rigid for 4 miles? And there is no answer to that because there isn't.
What if we did this impossible thing? Oh,
Right.
gee, I don't know.
Yep. Or it would
if the Earth was flat, maybe that would be possible.
Yeah. Or like when they bring a spirit level on a plane to see if the nose of the plane tilts down to follow the curvature of the Earth, not understanding that the plane is flying level the whole time because that's how level works on a globe. And like, I'm going to measure the curvature of the Earth with a spirit level in an airplane.
I just realized I spelled amateur wrong on Debate Hub. I kind of want to leave it.
Well, that's okay. You spelled two. You used the wrong 2 in the thumbnail for this this video. You know.
The video we're doing right now?
Yeah.
That was me?
Of course it was. You're the one holding the sign.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but that's a Goblin me.
Yeah.
That tracks.
And those are the dates given by the labs. 1.4 million, but it's only 200 years old.
Yeah, and I've used this before, but like, okay, you know how people have kitchen scales, and they might go up to like a kilogram or something if it's a really nice kitchen scale. Okay, what if I want to weigh?
Stare blankly into the abyss.
What if I want to weigh my car on a kitchen scale? It's gonna read. Let's say my kitchen scale goes up to a kilogram. Assuming it doesn't break the kitchen scale, what's it going to read? Like a kilogram.
Broken. It's going to be RAID broken.
Well, like I said, we're assuming it's going to stay. It's not going to break, right? It's going to read about a kilogram.
Yeah, it doesn't. Oh, yeah.
Because it can't go higher than that.
Yes.
So does that mean that my car actually weighs a kilogram? No.
No.
Similarly, if you go to a truck scale and you drop a grain of rice on it, it's going to read 0. And I know because Zircon did this test for me because he's a trucker. So he asked his boss, hey, can we put a grain of rice on the truck scale? And his boss was first like, why? And then Zircon explained it. And his boss was like, yeah, sure, let's do it. And you know what it read when there was 1 grain of rice on the truck scale? 0. Does that mean that rice is massless? And no matter how much rice you have, it weighs 0? No, obviously not. You have to use the right measuring technique for the right thing or it's not going to work. And all creationists are doing is saying, hey, when you misuse radiometric dating, it doesn't work. Like, yeah, we know. In fact, this is dumb enough that it deserves a drink.
Yeah.
All for the same reason. Because the initial element is getting out of it, and there's lots of the daughter element in the atmosphere. So you're getting really false dating on these ages. And
by the way, in none of these cases has the reason for these old ages actually been established to be leaching, which is what he's claiming, or contamination, which is the other thing he's claiming. In none of these cases has that actually been demonstrated. He's just making that up, or he's repeating something that someone else made up. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, my kitchen scale goes to 11. Wow. That's pretty good. My volume goes to 11. You all right there?
I feel so dumb.
Because you didn't get the Spinal Tap reference at first?
No, I got that. I just
okay.
feel dumb.
Okay.
This man is making me feel more dumb as he speaks.
Here's something that's extra dumb. Have you noticed that his slide doesn't actually fit onto the screen? It's cut off at the bottom and on the left. Because why bother fitting your slide within the actual screen size?
Oh my god!
To be fair, that's probably the projectionist's fault and not his, but like it's still dumb.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
They're all over the board. Okay. Mount St.
Go get the gin. We know you want to.
Helens exploded. Not less than 26 years. Actually, it's a little more than 26 years.
Oh, wait. We got another super chat. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator. Well, Dapper does have 0 pounds of rice. No, that's actually untrue. I have like 45 pounds of rice. So I'm good for now. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone who has sent me rice. Let's check the fundraiser, see if there's any change there. Nope, not yet. All right, here we go.
Now it'd be about 30. And in this volcano that went off, it actually cooled the Earth by 2 degrees for a year. About 40% of the mountain blew off on the north side, and it created some very interesting things for us to look at in terms of stratification. But, of course, it's a volcano, so we have volcanic rock, so we know how...
Oh, also, we had to take a drink for being stupid, because a volcanic eruption cannot create stratification. It can create at most 1 stratum. So we'll take a drink for that.
How old it is. Let's date it. So they dated the volcanic rock.
Orange Dot says 45 pounds of dry rice. How do you store it? I store it in a cool, dry place. The cool part is hard because it's Arizona. The dry part is super easy because it's Arizona.
And it comes out with a dating between 340,000 to 2.8 million years old. But it is 30 years old.
Yeah, we've already been over that. That was all back to the Steve Austin nonsense, Lawrence. You're just repeating yourself. I don't think he knows the actual history of this. I think he found these dates reported in separate creationist sources and was like, "Oh, I guess that works. I'll just put it in here twice." Like, oh, okay. He's got this guy as a reaction gif. Okay.
We got an issue here.
Oh,
we got something to look at. Okay.
He thought it was a joke. No one else did.
Now,
joke that didn't land.
In the uranium,
oh my god!
lead
I need a crumpled up piece of paper. I need tomatoes. I need to. I want to throw things. I have this little naked troll doll.
You know, Chesh, we should find out if he's giving next time he's giving talks in North America. And we should just go. Yeah, we should just go.
Can I bring a button that goes, eh?
I mean, yeah, you'll get kicked out, but yeah, go for it. Actually, I remember one time when I was still living in Washington State, I went with a friend and the person I was seeing at the time to a creationist lecture at a church. And she won the raffle for the prize of like they had a raffle and you could win like several creationist books or something. And the person I was seeing, she won. Like she took the books from the creationists. So they did not go to a good creationist who was going to use them to spread the gospel of young earth creationism. They went to the person I was seeing at the time. So that was fun. And also we got to ask a bunch of questions at the end, to which the speaker did not have great answers. And then this was still when Talk Origins was being like actively updated. So several people came out to talk to us later about the questions we were asking and stuff. Like, oh, where can I read more about that question? And so we just directed them all to Talk Origins. Like, yeah, it's a message board for talking about Origins topics. Keeping a little bit on the down low that it was anti-creation project. All right, so we got 2 more super chats for $4.99. Air Dodger says, I can't tell what's more embarrassing, Tisdall's dumbassery or Dapper's gaming skills. Dapper's gaming skills is the answer to that. Look, I was playing
More embarrassing?
Yeah, I was playing Darktide a little bit earlier. This is like a quick break between cloning the C drive and doing some video editing and starting the show.
Suffering.
And so I only just now got my first heresy difficulty completed level today. So like I am not good. And I had to do it by abusing crack grenades. Yeah. So I increased my grenade capacity. I used the increased bonus on grenade damage, and I have grenade regeneration, and I have the perk that every once in a while when I throw a grenade, 2 grenades come out, but I only lose 1 from my inventory.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so like I'm just chucking grenades one after the other at everything that's bigger than like a standard size human. and that's just how I'm winning. I also
winning games.
Yeah, I also picked like the lowest effort las gun. That's basically just sprays a hose of las fire, and I have it like set up for increased chance of crit damage and stacking burn on crit, so that I just dot everything in a field of fire, and then hopefully it all dies. Yeah, I'm playing on like easy mode as much as possible, and I'm still barely winning. Sapphire, Big Swamp Denier Light for $2 says AIG is a toad of Tisdall Tallywhackers. We will take a drink for that. Thank you.
Whoa. That's some serious allegations.
It is, but it's all true. Let's see. Fits of Rage says, where is rice in the Ceratosaurus food pyramid? It's near the top. We don't eat much of it, but, it's you gotta have a little something in there for, getting just some carbohydrates.
Oh.
Yeah, carbohydrates are important. All right, here we go.
Than potassium argon. There are 28 different changes that take place before it gets to uranium lead. And here's something that happened that was very interesting when this was presented. In 1986, 140 crystals, zircons, or like black mica, were...
Okay, so let's see. Let's do $350 were just donated on the GoFundMe. So thank you.
Whoa!
Yeah, that is a huge. That is a huge. Thank you very much. You guys have been absurdly generous. Every time that I've ever needed to ask you guys for your support, you guys have always been absurdly generous. And okay, I'm gonna just stop saying thank you before I lose track of what's going on. Let's see. I can't read the whole thing because of the stupid color contrast is super low.
Fear Hebrew Conlang. Hold on, I'm gonna go to their channel. Fear Hebrew Conlanger Monger.
There we go. Yeah, okay. The teal with the blue from having being a bot is so cursed. It's so bad. Yeah, for $5.
So bad.
Idea: fundraise to pay Lawrence for a private show so he can present to a hostile audience. I'd love to see him have a damn meltdown over the buzzer. The thing is, we would have to get him to agree to it first, and then we would have to fundraise. And I think that's going to be the big barrier, is getting him to agree to it. And that if he agrees to it, and we're fundraising, because we're going to be paying him a bunch of money. But I do like the idea. I do think it's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Extracted from the same rock. So they should all have the same age, right? They're extracted from the same rock.
No, Lawrence. Because remember that thing? Oh, you can't remember it because you're not here, Lawrence. I forgot. Okay.
Oh my god.
Look, I'm a professional, and I know what I'm doing, and I know how this format works.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're not actually here.
Yeah. So, people who aren't Lawrence, the people who are here, chat, Chesh, people watching in the future, hello from the past, please forgive us our quaint ways.
Should you be offended, think it all a dream and all is mended.
So, do you remember earlier when I was explaining how xenocrysts can cause an anomalously old age if they're included in your sample because they are in fact older inclusions within the younger igneous rock? Do you remember me saying that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what that means is, if you test different parts of a rock, you can in fact get different ages. And in fact, xenocrysts and zircons are a frequent kind of xenocryst, which is what he's talking about. Zircons that are formed at different ages can be in the same rock. So, yes, it does matter where you test the rock. If you want to test xenocrysts, or like the zircons specifically, you can isolate those. And if you want to test the age of the rock itself overall, you make sure not to include those. So, it's dumb and wrong to say it doesn't matter where in the rock you test. So I took a drink for it. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, well, he does need money to get his balls back. I like how you have to use the other A, so that way YouTube wouldn't censor you.
I like how that worked.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube is really bad about like things that look like other letters. Like,
it's so weird. Sometimes they're really good about it, and sometimes they're not. Like, sometimes they're like on point. And sometimes it's just like chaos.
Oh, have I ever told you about me watching someone play, I think it was Total War Warhammer 2, and being unable to talk about the game because they were playing Dark Elves?
No?
So, the Dark Elves in Warhammer Fantasy are from a continent called Nagaroth. Right?
Okay.
And the capital of one of their factions is Nagarond. But the problem is that Twitch blocks basically anything where the consonants N, G, G, R appear in sequence, no matter what is intervening.
Oh my god.
So I couldn't actually type the name of his home continent or his capital city. Because they're very careful about that. And I was like, this is extremely inconvenient watching this guy play as Malekith on Total War Warhammer 2, and I can't talk about most of the geography of his empire.
Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, that alpha is Greek to YouTube. I've used some Greek letters to get around YouTube censorship too. All right, here we go.
And they dated, this is published, they dated these rocks, but the results were so widely dispersed that they threw out 139 of the 140 and kept one. And they published with the one.
Okay, well let's... You know what? I actually don't care to check this because I'm going to have to go searching through Nature from 1986. Was, by the way, creationists. You guys need to put a moratorium on citing anything older than 30 years. Just don't do it. Stop it. Just
Please stop.
Yeah.
Please cease and desist.
1996 should be your cutoff for now. Until you can show that you guys are, capable of using new sources, then we'll let you go back and use old sources.
Wow. How did they know the one was right?
Orange Dot says, can we do a show about the Dark Elves? I mean, that could be a lore show.
Can we without getting, making YouTube mad at us?
We can if we do it on the hub and not the debate hub. Actually, that's not
true.
That might not be true. Actually, no. Because I don't know if you know, but the Dark Elves aren't big on the whole consent thing for anything.
Oh yeah,
so,
and the hub is very much about consent.
Well,
which is good. Well, you know what? I take that back. But also, they've done more than some. They've done more than some other things have, which is still a really, really low bar, admittedly. Yeah. But it is something at least.
If you're following their rules, you have to do the rules are very careful about consent. The practice has been iffy, shall we say, in the past.
Yeah, iffy at best. Still better than some other ones.
Yeah. So, and look, I get it. It's also like a video hosting platform where I'm sure many, many videos are uploaded daily, and there's no way to check all of them. But there have also been cases where people have said, hey, there's a consent problem with this video, and they just have done nothing for years. So,
Yeah.
The magic of relative dating with fossils.
Okay, that can't be... He's going up.
The one fit their model.
Okay.
So it means they've already decided the ages beforehand. The one.
How do you know that? Because one of the things is, if the one fit their model, and that's the only one that they published, how do you know about the other ones, first of all? Because that contradicts that, right? If you think the other ones are accurate, or if you think this means that the whole thing is inaccurate, the next step for you is to get a paper together to explain why you think that, and what your logic is, and how you think their methodology was flawed, and what you think their conclusion should have been. And then, if you can get that passed, to check to see if your work is good, then you might even be able to get this 40-year-old paper retracted for some reason. And also, I gotta say, the very fact that he's going back 40 years for this, which is probably closer to like 35 or something, because I know this talk wasn't given this year, obviously. The very fact that you had to go that far back to cherry pick this paper makes me think this is not a common practice. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, Young Earth creationists shouldn't use sources that are too old for their youth pastor to date. Well, For a lot of youth pastors, that's going to be like 15 years old.
Ha! Gross.
Yeah, it is gross.
Speaking of gross, drinks.
I remember. I went to a youth group, and we definitely did things that are now banned.
Oh yeah. We did that too.
So, now I don't know of any allegations of that kind of thing from any of the youth pastors that were there when I was at that church.
I think one of the youth pastors that I went to church with got in trouble, but it was later. It was
Okay.
well later, like after I wasn't there anymore.
Right. I don't know of any of them that.
I don't even know if it was at the same church that he got in trouble. It might have been a different one, actually.
Okay. I don't know of any of that going on at the church that I went to, but by most accounts that I see of people who have like grown up in evangelical churches, I went to like one of the least problematic ones that has ever existed somehow. So like I dodged a bullet on that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, listen, you take what you can get, man. You take those. When you win, man.
Like I don't have a whole lot of
Dapper out here win.
Seriously. Like I don't have a whole lot of like anxiety about not getting picked up by the rapture or something like that. Like I know that some people do. And like when I found out that was a common like thing that people have to deal with, that ex-evangelicals have to deal with, I was like, what? Why? I was never worried about that.
What? Why?
And then, I found out why, because I listened to those people rather than just saying, well, that's silly and moving on.
Giving 4.3 billion years old. That's the one they took. It wasn't due to fossils because they already had decided how old it was.
Okay, Lawrence, how would they do that? Because one of the things you got to remember is that when so evolution is created as a hypothesis or a potential theory, right, by Charles Darwin. And then, actually before that, geologists are looking at the geological column, and they're saying that the Earth is probably a few million years old, maybe a few tens of millions of years old. And the, evolutionary biologists are then out there saying, no, it's going to be a lot older than that, right? And the geologists were like, well, tough. There's no evidence of that. And then Lord Kelvin tries to calculate the age of the Earth based on thermodynamics, not knowing about radiation. So he doesn't know that there's a source of heat in the Earth. So he thinks that the Earth is just cooling from an initial hot state, and he uses just like things like thermal conductivity of rock and like the supposed temperature that he's trying to figure out from the center of the Earth and whatnot. And he gets a slightly older date, but it's still not enough that makes evolutionary biologists happy. They're still like, I think it's a lot older.
Right.
And then finally, after like Madame Curie comes around and we figure out how radiation works more or less, and we're able to measure radiometric decay rates and whatnot, and we start getting consistent dating results from various rocks, we start being able to check for things like contamination, leaching, all that stuff. Then finally, we start settling on the current consensus. So if all of this is just made up, why didn't the geologists do that back when the biologists were already telling them, hey guys, it's got to be older than these estimates that you're giving us?
If it was a conspiracy setup, why wouldn't they already be doing it?
Right. Why did it take like something like 60 years or something for those two groups to get on the same page about dating?
Yeah, right?
And why did that only happen after a technique that was able to date things absolutely was invented? See, it doesn't even make sense as being a conspiracy theory, right? Like, this order of events doesn't actually follow for it to be a conspiracy theory. Again, I'm going to take a drink for this being dumb.
This is dumb.
This is very dumb. And for 10 Kiwi dollars, Templar Warden says, I absolutely bet this super chat that the paper is specifically testing the variety of ages in known rock intentionally instead of using those ages to date the rock. You know what? There's a pretty good chance that you are right about that. That seems entirely plausible. Yep. All right. Here we go.
So when I presented this to, and similar criticisms, said the person writing this, Alexander Williams, of the isotope dating method to a gathering at the Lucas Heights Scientific Society in Australia, the only response came from the chief of the division responsible for the dating. He says this, do you have a better dating method? And I said, no. And he appeared satisfied with that answer.
I mean, yeah, because you presented a whole bunch of really non-issues. And so the only thing left for you to actually present a thing that people should listen to is having a better way to do it. And plus, I want to point out Remember how I said that the geologists were already estimating at least a few tens of millions of years before they got radiometric dating? What that means is, even if radiometric dating is complete bullshit, completely useless, the Earth is still several orders of magnitude older than Lawrence thinks it is, at a minimum. So it doesn't actually help him that much, right? Because
I don't understand why. I don't like it. It's baffling. It is truly baffling. Like, there's no reason for this. There's no reason to like jump through this many hoops to put this much crap out.
Okay, but there is though.
What?
Lawrence is part of a concerted, although not necessarily intentionally planned, but a concerted effort to propagandize Christians to belong to certain Christian identities that themselves promote right-wing, authoritarian, Christo-fascist politics.
Oh, so he's the conspiracy theorist.
Well, yeah, we already know that. But the thing is, I'm not saying it's a conspiracy because I don't think it's a coordinated effort, but that's ultimately the goal. Lawrence is trying to make sure that all the Christians are Christians like him. And the problem is that with young Earth creationism, it's bundled into a package deal, right? Because identities aren't typically just disconnected things that you can swap one thing out and another thing in piecemeal, right? Identities tend to come as packages. And part of the package of the young Earth creationist, fundamentalist, evangelical Christian is right-wing politics, it's anti-Semitism, it's racism. Remember, the idea of Christian schools in the United States, besides Catholic schools, was basically as an excuse to keep segregation going. So you'd say, well, we have a religious school, and to be a member of the school, you have to belong to certain churches. Which churches were those? Oh, white churches. Right.
Oh,
got it.
Well, of course.
Right? Like this, it's a whole project. And while Lawrence might not even be thinking consciously that what he's trying to do is maintain like white supremacist Christian theocracy going, ultimately that's what the entire project of young Earth creationism is about. And one of the ways you can tell is the degree to which a lot of young Earth creationist organizations have stopped bothering with science and have started pivoting towards just doing culture war stuff, right? Like this year, the year's almost half done. Do you know how many papers have been published in the Answers Research Journal, the Answers and Genesis Pretend Journal? Last year, it was a little over 100.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot.
What do you think it is this year?
Is it double?
No, it's lower. Because remember, they're abandoning their appearances of science.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense.
So by this time last year, they were probably around 40
75?
or so. No, lower than that.
Yeah.
It's 0.
How much?
0.
Oh.
They haven't done it at all. That's how hard their pivot
Oh.
away from pretending to do science is. They just don't care anymore.
That's a pretty hard pivot.
Yeah. Also, let me double check. I believe the fundraiser has gone up. Yes, we are now at 3,002. Thank you so. My goodness, you guys are. I really do have one of the best audiences. I think it might be the best, but I'm biased.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you're biased in the right way.
Yeah, Cheshka has to get an audience that's even half as cool as mine. I say as like virtually all of her audience overlaps with mine.
But you cannot. But can you ride a bicycle into the past simply because no one else has a better time machine?
No, but you haven't demonstrated that what they're doing can't do what they say it's doing. You just said you're just saying it does it badly. And in doing this, you're also spreading a bunch of lies, Lawrence. Which is why I don't actually believe you about your story, which is why I'm taking a drink for a story that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Because just about every conversation I ever hear a young Earth creationist report on from like an atheist or whatever, I never actually see any of those interactions actually occur that way, nor do they seem plausible. Although I did find the conversation between Eric Hovind and Aaron Ra at the Ark Encounter to be a very bizarre and surreal experience to watch. Because it was like two ships passing each other in the night. At no point were they talking about the same thing, for the most part.
So, yeah, so many of those conversations end up like that, where it's like, you're not even trying.
Yeah. I don't think it was necessarily Eric or Aaron's fault. I think that they were coming at this from such fundamentally different standpoints that the likelihood of them ever meaningfully communicating in that situation was already basically zero.
Yeah, that's something that they either have to like figure out ahead of time, or something that like their managers, if you had a manager, has to figure out ahead of time.
Yeah. And
that's like so like on Debate Hub, that's my job.
Right.
It's my job to make sure that the two people that are coming know where the starting line is.
And I mean, it's not like this was something that they had arranged beforehand. They just both showed up to two sides of a protest.
Yeah.
And decided to just have a talk on camera. Like, that's fine. This is not me trying to criticize Aaron or Eric for that matter. I think they both did what I would expect them to do, and I have no particular problem with it. But yeah, it's a weird conversation if you ever want to look it up. I think it's still all over YouTube.
Of course not.
Probably.
In the same way, it's absurd to argue that an inadequate method is adequate because nothing better is available.
It is absurd, which is why I don't believe you, Lawrence. I don't think this is a true story.
Yeah, it's absurd, this thing I made up.
Yeah. That happens a lot, actually.
That's what you sound like.
Look how crazy evolution is, as I describe not what evolution is. And it's like, yeah, the thing you described is indeed crazy. It's just also not evolution. But okay.
They only hold on to radiometric dating because they need it to go against the young Earth.
No, they don't, though. They don't, though. Because remember, just geology without radiometric dating is sufficient to get us to tens of millions of years old, Lawrence. Which means that we can't be young Earthers. Also, I am being frequently distracted by the Space Marine footage because I can't play Space Marine on this laptop, and it makes me sad. I know. Look at me. I'm a Raven Guard sniper guy with a lizardy cloak. That's cool. And I just can't do it. I tested it. I was supposed to play with cognitive trifurcation and low energy videos the other day. And so I loaded Space Marine up, and from double clicking on the shortcut to getting to the hub in the game was 13 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm not going to do that. That's absurd.
Yeah.
It's part of their dogma. Now, there are things that creationists have looked at in terms of why it's giving dates that are older than 10,000 years. Okay? And it is, and there's some ideas about that.
You going to share them, Lawrence? You gonna share them?
There's some ideas.
You tell me? Tell me why.
But the dating
ain't nothing but a heartache.
I was gonna do it, and I was like, nah, I shouldn't. Oh, good thing Chesh doesn't have a filter.
I couldn't not.
I know, I get it. I was
not. You
extremely
can't.
Close.
You can't do that to me.
I can do whatever I want. It's my channel.
Yeah, well, I'll drink for that, I guess.
All right, fine. I'll drink for it too. I don't care.
You can play Doom on it? Probably. Can you play Doom on it? Can you play Doom on the laptop?
I mean, I haven't tried, but if I couldn't, I would be shocked.
Like original Doom or like the new Doom?
Well, the Math Navigator said that for $2 and said probably. So I don't have Doom the Dark Ages, but I do have Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. I think it could probably run Doom Eternal. I might have to make space on like the C drive to get the loading times a little bit down.
Oh yeah.
But the problem is that like if I put Space Marine on the C drive, it's going to be gigantic because that is a big ass game. You downloaded it, you know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, you spent like what, an hour and a half or something just downloading it.
Did it take that long?
It felt that long.
Fair.
Yeah.
I think it felt that long, but I don't think it actually took that long.
It took a really long time.
I think it just felt that long because you were like, I want to play.
Yes, that is a big part of it.
Yeah.
As you can see. Not really dependable. Now let's look at the young Earth. What do we have in terms of young Earth?
Okay.
Well, first of all, there's presence of carbon-14 in all geological strata. Now that's bizarre.
It's not, though. It's not, for a number of reasons. One is you actually don't know that. So a lot of the times that creationists report carbon-14, the levels that they're reporting are basically background. And I don't know, I guess most people don't have a lot of experience like measuring stuff like radiation, right? So when I was in the Navy, I sometimes stood a watch where I was basically guarding the door to the reactor room on the ship. And so basically when the reactor is shut down, after a certain amount of time, you take radiation readings from inside the reactor room, and once they're safe, people can go in and out, right? Because there's maintenance that you have to do in there. There are light bulbs that need to get switched out. You have to inspect cladding. You have to inspect, pipes for leakage. You have to check on the motors that control the control rods, all that stuff, right? Okay, so because that
you have to do maintenance,
right? So that area tends to be the most radioactive place on the ship, as you might expect, right? Because it's where the reactor is, and when the reactor's on, it produces a lot of radioactive stuff. So, it becomes a radiation control or radcon situation. And so the person who's posted up to guard that door, whenever people are going in and out, they need to check not just the people, but also the surrounding area for radioactive contamination. And so you have a logbook. And in the logbook, you need to write down two things. First, before you start taking your actual readings of specific things, you need to just activate the radiation sensor and see what it's doing when nothing in particular is happening, right? You're just holding on to it. You're not trying to test anything. And what you're going to find is that there's a number of clicks per minute that it's reading.
Yeah.
And you need to write that down because that's your background. So that way, when you get a higher reading, you can note that it's higher. And so you note the background, the higher reading, and then subtract the background from the higher reading to actually get the actual radiation coming from that thing. And so when carbon-14 is being tested for, what's happening is, in many cases, well, actually in all cases, carbon-14 works by mass spectrometry, which isn't the same technology, but there are similar ideas, right? And so what happens is you get whatever the test sample is, and it gets heated up to some really high temperature, but it's a tiny sample, so it's not like a lot of heat. And then you check to see what spectrum of light is emitted. And different isotopes of different elements have different emission spectra. And so you can tell what's there, and by the strength of the signal, you can tell how much. But in order to get the next sample in, you have to evacuate the test chamber, which is done with a vacuum pump. But no vacuum pump is perfect. And so you will always have some residual of whatever was in there earlier. And what that means is you're never going to read zero carbon-14. So a lot of the carbon-14, the creationist report, is actually just background. They also will sometimes report it from coal. But the thing is, coal is usually sampled from like coal mines where no one gives a shit about contaminating the coal with carbon-14. Further,
it's not really a problem.
Yeah. Further, a number of coal mines have a history of having like recent inflow of material from the surface, like during floods or whatever. So there's a lot of contamination that goes on with a lot of this stuff. And lastly, there are in fact ways for carbon-14 to be generated radiogenically underground. Because if nitrogen-14 is embedded in anything underground, and there are neutron sources underground, which there are, some of that nitrogen-14 can turn into carbon-14, which means we don't actually ever expect to find zero carbon-14 on our reading if you shove a sample into the mass spectrometer. You always expect some reading.
Right.
We're going to look at this.
Oh, we skipped over the break, and my drink is getting flat and warm, so I'm going to go fix that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, go on intermission. We'll be back, and we'll continue on. And then remember, afterwards, the plan is more Star Trek. We got a whole second season. We're not going to watch the whole second season, but we got a second season of Star Trek Enterprise. So what happened to San Francisco in the future? It got blown up. How are they going to fix that? I don't know.
How are they going to fix that? Who could say?
All right, we'll be right back. And we are back. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, look, I'm a Blood Angel now.
Whoa.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed about the Blood Angels cosmetics in Space Marine?
What?
They just have one Blood Angels color scheme, and so they don't actually give you the correct helmet colors for the different classes.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. Like, if you're a tactical, it's correct. But if you're a heavy, your helmet should be blue, or if you're an assault, your helmet should be yellow, and they just don't do that automatically. So what that also means, though, is that when people are playing Blood Angels, you can tell which ones are the real ones. Like, which ones are actually Blood Angels fans for real. Because they know that correct heraldry. Yeah. My Infinite Journey, who's been a member for 38 months and is at the amulet level, says, "Hail Daps and Gobbo, and hail carbon dating as long as it's done properly." Indeed.
Hey.
So, we are back, and I'm going to try to make this relatively quick because you guys are already being very generous, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but this channel is, in fact, supported almost entirely by the direct support of people who are watching. So whether it be super chats, super thanks, gifted memberships, anything like that, that is the vast majority of how the channel keeps going, because doing this full time costs money. So yeah, if you are someone who likes what I do here and who appreciates it and wants to help out, we have a few different ways that you can help out. The biggest one is probably the Patreon. That's where I get to keep the largest percentage of the money that I get from gifts. There's also the channel memberships, where YouTube takes their 30% cut, but still you get all sorts of cool stuff like channel emojis and membership milestone chats and stuff like that. So Stephen G. Clinard says, "What is the purple helmet?" You have to play through Battle Sector to find out, or is it Battle Zone, whatever it is. Yeah. But I know what you're doing there. I get it. Don't worry, I know. So yeah. Both of those give you early access to my scripted videos. There should be another scripted video coming out later this week. I would like to say tomorrow, but I honestly don't know how much time all the other stuff is going to take tomorrow. But like Thursday by the latest, I should think. It's already like about halfway done editing, so yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, so you get early access to videos that are scripted. You get access to my Discord channel that's just for supporters, which is a really fun place pretty much all the time. I can't say there's never friction, but it's overall a pretty welcoming place. My Infinite Stock for $2 says, "Don't strawman Carbon 14 dating, like and share instead." Agreed.
Where you see 14, I see 4.
And also, yes, the fundraiser is still going. I'm probably going to promote it Saturday, and then I'm going to stop promoting it, but it'll probably stay open if you want to still go give to it. And that is also a great way to support, because I think it's even less that they take than Patreon does. It's also a great way if you want to do a one-time thing, because I have had some people say, like, is there a one-time option for Patreon? There really isn't, but there is on the fundraiser.
You have to do it and then turn it off. Yeah,
like if you do an annual thing and then you turn it off real quick, that counts, and you'll get a year's worth of whatever.
Yeah.
So that's my recommendation if you want to do a one-time thing, is just buy yourself a one-time 1 year patron thing. Anyway, let's get back into this. It's a good one.
Yes, great. Yeah. Let me drink more.
Okay.
Degradation of the Earth's magnetic field. We're going to look at the erosion of the continents. How are we doing on time? Okay. You still got 45 minutes to finish. You're becoming very spiritual by the minute. You can see your inner man is becoming stronger.
What does any of that mean?
Yeah.
I think those were jokes, and I'm going to take a drink for them.
Yeah, I'm going to drink because these jokes grossed me out.
Yeah, that's fair. What, you don't want the man inside you to become stronger?
And the man inside me doesn't need to become any stronger.
Okay. It was a sex joke.
Just stare at this. Was it a sex joke or an egg joke?
It can be both.
It can be both.
Yeah.
Okay. I shouldn't have said anything. You would have thought of it. Anyway, okay. The president. Okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't have said anything. Not as the option.
That's true. Take a drink. We'll take a drink for that.
Correct.
My goodness. Stephen G. Clinard for $5 says, AIG is a loot crate full of purple helmeted space marine. I'll take a drink. You know, some of the space marines with purple helmets are the Emperor's children, the Slanesh Marines. We all know what Slanesh is all about. Actually, a lot of people don't, because everyone's like, oh, that's the sex one. It's like, well, it is the sex one, but that's like a part of it, and not even close to
that
all
is like
of it.
Maybe 10%.
Right. It's like, yeah, there's a lot more to Slanesh than the sex one. In fact, actually, I recently read the Fulgrim novel for the Horus Heresy series. And while there is some sex stuff in it, a lot of it is not that. A lot of it is like people driving themselves to insanity to try to get like the perfect painting or something. And then finally discovering that the only thing that gives them the exact color they want on their red hues for the sunset painting is their own blood. And like that going into dark places and that person like falling apart physically because she just can't get the right painting.
I do like that Fitz immediately brought up the goblin inside of me. But what about the goblin? Listen, I think you all know. I think you all know the answer to that.
Let's see. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, the man inside me is a chicken burrito.
Ooh.
I could go for a chicken burrito.
That's a good choice. Yeah, now I also want a chicken burrito.
Stephen G. Clinard for $2 says, don't Slanesh shame. I won't. I will not.
We're gonna have to undo Bent's pizza, and it's gonna be chicken burritos for us instead.
Oh, well, I did tell Bent during the break that was like, it's possible we'll get the pizza, so like maybe think about it. But also, if we do, we're getting it tomorrow. I'm not doing pizza today. I already had
valid.
Yeah, I had some loaded fries as like my one meal today.
Ooh. Yo, loaded fries are good though. I haven't had loaded fries in a while.
This one had sour cream and queso and chicken and jalapeno and salsa.
Jalapeno.
Yeah. And I split it over 2 meals because I got through like a third of it on my first meal. I was like, oh, this is too much. I also had a lengua taco with that first meal. So, you know.
Oh.
Yeah. Do they even have lengua tacos up there in Canada?
I don't know. Maybe.
You should find out. Because if you haven't had lengua tacos, you should.
Okay, carbon-14 works the same way as, well, sort of the same way as mineral methods. The idea is you have radioactive element that degrades into or loses its extra energy. And
that is a really dumb way to talk about it. But okay. It decays, it doesn't degrade, but I'll chalk that up to English as being his second language. I'll take a drink either way.
Using scientific terms when you don't understand them and then waffling them around.
Well, look, I feel like there's a fair chance that he would use the right term if this were a talk given in French, and that by going to English, he's getting a few more things wrong.
That is a valid, like, thought process that you're going through.
Thanks. I really do like to give people who are giving talks in English when it's not their first language, like a bit of a break on getting the terminology exactly right, because if I had to give this talk in French, I would do a bad job. I promise.
I would also do a bad job.
I remember one time in the Navy, we're doing joint operations with the Charles de Gaulle, a French aircraft carrier. And there was some personnel exchange. And so at one point, for some general quarters drills, I was assigned to follow around this French NCO from the Charles de Gaulle and try to explain firefighting techniques in French. Chesh, do you know what my level of French education is?
Better than mine.
Yeah, but I took it in high school. That's it.
Oh,
so
boy.
I'm sitting here trying to think of how to talk about a very nozzle for firefighting in French.
Oh boy.
You think we covered very nozzles in my high school French class? Because I assure you, we did not.
I feel like there is a probably loss somewhere between point A and point B of like just reading a thesaurus for no other better term.
And the way this happened was I was sitting in training like the day before. They were like, they just asked like, who here speaks any French? And so I raised my hand. I'm like, I speak a little. I'm like, all right, well, guess what? And I'm like, wait, what? I don't think I'm prepared for this.
Guess what? It's you. You're the boy now. You're the guy. You're the dude.
Sapphire Big Swamp Denier Light for $2 says, live react from the man in me 404. Oh, I'm gonna hit play.
404.
Becomes a lower energy value. And so the carbon-14 gets absorbed by plants. Plants are eaten by animals. The idea is that there'd be an equilibrium between us and the high atmosphere where the carbon-14 comes from. Because it'll filter down.
So we actually don't need it to be a complete equilibrium, and we actually know that it hasn't been over the entirety of like the useful time period where carbon-14 dating works. And so what we've actually done is we've correlated it with other processes like ice core dating and dendrochronology and things like that. And we've actually got what's called a calibration curve, where because we know that the equilibrium has not been steady for the entire like 50,000 years or so over which you can use carbon dating, we actually have taken this into account. So equilibrium is actually not one of the assumptions that's currently used in carbon dating. Lieutenant Math Navigator for $2 says, just explain it in Ultra French. Jeez. Chesh, have I sent you Ultra French? Have you experienced Ultra French?
No, I feel like it sounds familiar, but I couldn't say for sure.
If you are in Chesh's Discord server, I need all of you to independently link her the Ultra French video today.
Don't do this to me,
tag
please.
her, please.
Not. Don't do this to me. My stuff is already crazy enough. Could you?
You only have to watch it once, though.
Not. Only have to watch it once, though. I guess that's true.
It's basically just like, what if French became even more French?
Fair enough.
Yeah, and you might think, I don't know.
Can French be more French?
Oh, it can, because Ultra French exists. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, apparently the answer is yes.
Orange Dot for $3.33 blasphemously sends, praise the Omni something. It's the Omnissiah. Thank you very much. The Omnissiah. The incarnation
Omni something or another
of the machine god that foolish humans know as the Emperor of Mankind, not realizing that he is actually the avatar of the machine god, the creator of the universe, and the embodiment of all knowledge and technology. Chesh, I don't know why you're laughing. The machine god made you too.
Yeah, well, they made a mistake.
Well, actually,
Get
no.
Pun intended.
Well, yeah, all those mistakes are intentional to help lead you towards the perfection of the machine. Because in the striving,
I am the mistake.
Okay, fine.
Into the plants, and then we eat the plants, and so we get amount of C14 in eating the plants. Now,
and the other animals, but whatever, sure, he's doing a pretty good job.
I don't have time to go into it, but actually this has come under a lot of attack recently, and
okay,
what?
This has come under a lot of attack recently in the same way that the Artemis 2 mission has come under a lot of attack by like moon landing deniers and flat earthers. That's not actually under
I feel
attack
like you're
by
using the word
right.
Attack really loosely here.
Yeah. It's like if I were to be like, I don't know, like attacked by a grasshopper who had half his brain missing. Like, I guess technically that's an attack, sure. I don't really care. Like, whatever.
Technically true.
It's like every once in a while, one of my lizards, back when they were alive, would confuse my finger for a mealworm and would, like, grab. And, like...
I've been attacked.
They couldn't even break the skin. And it's like, technically my lizard just attacked me, but, like... Whatever. No one cares. I don't even care.
Yeah.
It was a little startling, so I'd like jerk my hand, but that's it. And they let go, and I'd just be like, okay.
Have you ever had to deal with those people that are like, but nothing really bad happened? It's like, yeah, you you tried to break and enter into my house, and you didn't succeed. That doesn't mean we don't have a problem on our hands.
Right?
Like, I got a lot of people that try to harass me. They're not successful. That doesn't mean we don't have a problem on our hands.
Right.
This hypothesis may be totally invalid. But for the sake of the argument of what most people, this is very new science, it's coming out, and some people are really questioning the carbon dating being valid at all for anything beyond 2,000 years.
No one is doing that. But okay, that's not no one. The people who were doing that are young earthers who like the carbon dating that tells us stuff about like artifacts, that's the word I'm looking for, from like biblical times. They love that stuff, right? But like they want to make it so like, okay, so for biblical periods, so like 2 to 3 to maybe 4,000 years, we like those dates because they help corroborate various aspects of the biblical narrative, which they do in some cases. But we also know that past that time, we start getting into things that contradict stuff like a literal interpretation of Genesis like 6 through 9, and we don't want that. So what's actually going on is a bunch of creationists are just making up reasons why, oh, no, carbon dating is totally cool during the Bible times, but after that, I mean, it just goes crazy. You just can't trust it after that. In other words, yeah, carbon dating is great when it agrees with me. And whenever it doesn't, well, that's clearly wrong. Which just means that what you're doing is the very thing you were accusing the scientists of, Lawrence. Creationists are just doing that exact thing. The thing that the scientists aren't doing, but you think they are, which is deciding what dates work and which ones don't beforehand, and then just using that as their basis for what counts as valid.
Oh my god.
But let's pretend it is valid for the sake of argument.
Okay, cool.
What we do know about carbon is that it disappears really quick.
I mean, it depends on, like, it's 5,730 years or something. I don't know, that seems kind of long to me. Like, if I had a hunk of carbon-14, I wouldn't expect much of it to be gone by the time I died.
Half-life of 5,730 years.
There you go, you got there.
When you get to 5,000...
And how old does he think the Earth is?
Barely older than that.
So, if carbon exists, he's probably wrong.
No, because you could have carbon-14 be created and then just not have decayed yet. And also, some of it's going to decay during that time. Half of it or so. So that doesn't necessarily follow.
You are at half, and then you're at a quarter, and then you're at an eighth. You understand what's happening? Divide by half each time.
All right, we're taking a drink for him getting this right, and you might think this is very basic.
What?
No, listen to me.
Okay,
I'm taking a drink because I have heard more than one creationist get this wrong and think that after 2 half-lives, all of it's gone. Because after the first half-life, the first half decays. Then after the second half-life, the second half decays, and that's 1.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is not how it works. It's half of whatever you have goes away. So it goes to, like he said, to 1/2, to a quarter, to an eighth, to a 16th, to a 32nd, and so on.
Okay.
So you get lower, and then you hit, well, basically 0. And so when you're around 50,000 years...
Actually, I want to say good job to Lawrence because he said basically 0. Most creationists I find say it gets to 0, which is not technically accurate. Because if you were to plot this out, you'll actually never get to 0. And so saying basically 0 is the better way to say this. And I appreciate that because that is actually more accurate. So you know what? We're taking a drink for good job, Lawrence. Because I'm actually just used to standardly creationists getting this wrong. So, well done.
You basically don't have any more carbon left. So if you find carbon-14 in a sample, it's come from 2 places. Either it's contamination, or that sample is under 50,000 years old.
Nope. There is a third option, which is that radiogenic carbon-14 formed in that thing, regardless of atmospheric carbon-14, because that is still possible. It's the least likely option.
Drink
we'll
for fallacy.
All right. But he was, so even if everything points out, he was wrong. Divide by 1/2 is multiply by 2. Oh, he did get the statement of the math wrong. I'm still going to chalk that up to like misspeaking or English as a second language, because I'm pretty sure if you sat him down and you were like, okay, did you make a mistake there? He'd say, oh yeah, I did, and he'd correct it. Because I don't think Lawrence is like so dumb that he gets basic math wrong. He doesn't seem to do that. He's not Jeffrey Tompkins, whom I've seen add 2 3-digit numbers and get it wrong, and then publish that wrong information, and then no one called him on it, because Answers in Genesis doesn't actually do peer review, in case you were wondering.
Go figure.
Right? Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, this is actually a graph of Tisdall's credibility with new axes. Oh, that's good. I like it.
Okay, I gotta say, like, consistently, Lieutenant Nat the Navigator has jokes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's a beluga whale.
Gets me
in
every
Starfleet,
time. Mm,
much like our character on Star Trek
Very nice.
Endurance, which is coming back
very
in
nice.
like 3 weeks or something. Hopefully, I think that's the plan. You got 2 more sessions of D&D,
so.
and then we're probably going to do that.
Is it only 2?
I thought it was only 5 sessions, and we did 3.
I thought one of them was like our pre-session session.
Yeah, well, if I count that, then we've done 4 sessions.
Yeah, we might end up needing one more after that.
Okay,
but
well
we'll
then
see.
we might get to 6 sessions. I don't know.
I think we're gonna get to 6.
Okay. Well, there you
Especially having like a short episode last week. So
that's true. Yeah. But I did also recover my file that has my plans for which episodes go where, which was a concern of mine. Because I was like, I don't have that file without my computer. And now I have a copy of that file. So I know that the next episode is Prism. And
you have your character sheet. Right.
Yeah. I need to level that up
nice.
twice.
Yay.
All right, here we go.
And if you have a substantial amount of carbon, it's probably under 10,000 years old.
It depends on what you mean by substantial, Lawrence, but okay.
Look at the curve. It goes down really fast, and that you got to be measurable, and we're really low rates already here. We're only at 20%, and so we're getting into really low rates of carbon-14.
And we have very sensitive equipment, Lawrence. Like, the very fact that we say that the useful range is out to about 50,000 years, which is like 10 half-lives, right? So that's 2, right? Divided by 2, 10 times, right? So we'll do 1 over 2 to the 10th, right? Okay, I just did that on my phone calculator. That gives me a value. That gives me a value of 0.0. It's basically 0.1%. It's a little bit lower than that of the original value, and that's what scientists are saying that they can reliably detect is amounts of carbon-14 in a sample down to about 0.1% of the original amount, which is already a tiny fraction of the carbon that's in there anyway. So, I don't think that 20% is a particularly low amount, Lawrence, because the scientists themselves are reporting much more sensitive equipment and much more much more precise ability in dating than what you were saying is some kind of problem. So if you want to make the claim that below 20% is some kind of a big problem, I mean, go for it. But like, you have to give reasons. You can't just say, well, that's a low number. Oh, okay, cool. It's just like when Kent Owen is like, can you believe they say that they can measure the distance to a star that's, 100 light years away with parallax? Think about how tiny that triangle is. And it's like, well, given that we're getting down to like 100th of an arc second precision on a lot of stuff, yeah, I do believe it.
Now that you understand everything about carbon-14. Okay. In the scientific literature, like radiocarbon...
Was that a joke that didn't land?
Instruments and methods and science...
Oh, I guess it was. Oh, good point. I'll take a drink. Oh, Dutch Tunicate Official for $2 says, favorite cetacean, go. Mine is the beluga. Josh, what do you got?
I don't know.
Oh, come on. What's
Killer
your favorite?
whales are kind of cool.
There you go. Killer whale. I'm going to go with the vaquita.
I like that they knock over boats of rich people.
Yeah.
Physics research. They have measured over 15,000 samples throughout the years, and they all have carbon-14. Coal, wood, natural gas, carbon dioxide wells, bones, seashells, and marble. And what's fascinating about this is they all contain substantial and comparable quantities of C14.
Okay, the fact that it's marble should probably warn you about that, but okay, we'll just continue on. I don't even care.
If they contain comparable quantities of C14, it means they have the same age.
Not if that substantial quantity is basically background, Lawrence, which it is in these cases. Because you got to remember, all of these are creationists submitting samples that they know will be giving bullshit responses from the tests. and then reporting these samples that they're getting, and reporting whatever the number that they get, which is a meaningless number, and then saying, "Ho ho ho! Look at that!" It's the same thing as the Steve Austin thing, right? Yes, it's because he's Quebecois.
Yeah, it's. I don't. Okay.
All right. Oh, and for $2, Lieutenant Math Navigator says Leviathan Melvilliers. That's a good one. How do you feel about Leviathan?
I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's a cetacean.
It is a cetacean. Well, it was a cetacean. It's extinct.
Oh.
Yeah.
Context clues to figure out what things mean. Context, it matters. Go figure. Who would have thought?
The name itself is actually
guy
is a reference to Moby Dick, because the name means Melville's Leviathan.
Oh.
Yeah, because Melville's the author of Moby Dick. Yeah.
Yeah, I read
literature.
most of that book.
Do you know who to call Ishmael?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the character?
Now, coal.
Yeah, the narrator.
Yeah.
Coal is supposed to range between 40, 50 million years old to 300.
Okay, I hate the fact that this guy's audio goes from barely a whisper to him shouting into the microphone all the time, and I don't have a way to easily level that out. So I'm sorry about that, everybody.
No.
100 million years old. How could it have any carbon-14 in it?
We already went over that. I don't need to go over it again.
And yet
I think we answered that question already.
Could it be contamination?
Yes, it could.
Strange, because the laboratories are designed to remove all contamination.
No, that's usually something that is at least partially up to the person who's submitting the sample. The laboratory can't completely remove any contamination. You need to be careful when you're collecting the sample.
Yeah, and like that contextual information needs to be provided to the lab.
Yep. So
it can't read your mind.
Yeah. So let's just take a drink for the lab takes care of that. They can help, but they're not perfect.
Yeah.
Very, very strong processes, very strong acids are used to get rid of contamination. So it's not contamination. So we have a good level of confidence. And in fact, there was the RAPE project, which was creationists getting together.
How come sometimes you get to pick and choose when the lab is doing the right thing and when the lab is doing the wrong thing?
Oh, when the lab agrees with him, it's doing the right thing.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious to know, you have a way to square that circle, or does the square just go in, or does the circle just go in the square hole?
The circle goes in the square hole as a result of a special technique that he has called special pleating. You might not have heard of it, but it's a very clever, very advanced technique. Yep. Also, hey, the rate team. I want to get this. Also, look how far to the right everything is clipped off. Everything about his slide is just slightly too big for the projection, and I don't know why they did that. It's very strange. Okay, so
I wonder if they're actually just accidentally zoomed in too far, probably. And they, you know what I mean? It's not his slides. It's whoever's running the projector zoomed everything in for some reason.
Yeah, I think that's what's actually happening. Okay, so I want to talk about the rate team.
Why?
The rate team was a group of creationists who, geez, I think it was 20 years ago now, got together and they were like, okay, we're going to do this radioisotopes of the age of the Earth thing. We're going to call it rate, whatever. We're going to figure out how we can square a young Earth with radiometric dating and the evidence of radiation, radioactive decay and whatnot in the Earth's crust. Chesh, have I ever told you what their result was?
No.
Basically, it came down to this. All of the evidence is consistent with an age of the Earth that is in the billions of the years. But what if magic, though? That was their conclusion. If God's all powerful, then whatever, it doesn't matter.
I still stand by what I say every single time this comes up. I have more respect for you if you're just going to claim miracle than jumping through all of these ridiculous hoops of, God's just lying to you, or God's trying to trick you, or there's all these other things, or we're going to pretend we're doing science and we're not, or we're just going to lie to people. Just say God did it. Just say God did it. It's fine.
So their more detailed conclusion was basically, we think that there was an acceleration in the decay rate of all the nuclides, which, by the way, is physically impossible. That's a miracle on its own. And then also, because that would produce too much heat, it would, according to the rate team, melt the granitic crust of the Earth several times over, never mind boiling the oceans. There was another miracle to get rid of all that heat. So that was their answer. We'll just add miracles in, and that's fine. So anything from the rate team, I need you to understand that the actual conclusion of the rate team is that the Earth is old. But magic can make you, if you believe in magic, then maybe it's not. That's the conclusion. So I'm just going to take a drink for how dumb it is to cite the rate team as a young Earth creationist. You should never do that. It's a really bad idea. Okay.
Yeah, sounds bad.
Scientists, and 8 of them, I believe, they studied this, and they, amongst other things, they measured the amount of carbon-14 in coal and in 10 coal samples from 50, 100, 300 million years old.
I want to point out we are about 50 away from getting Ben some free pizza tomorrow.
Nice.
We could do it. And we're not much farther than that away from another fancy avatar.
Now I want pizza, but I get pizza on Sundays for my in real life TTRPG day.
Real life TTRPGs? What is this?
Yeah. I play games at my actual house with actual people in real life and have for years.
Like in meat space?
No, in my living room.
That counts as meat space.
Yeah. In meat space. I know, right? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
None of them are on the internet either. I mean, like, on YouTube. Like, none of them are, like, people you would recognize.
Okay, I was going to say they just don't have internet connections? That seems unlikely.
No, they're not, like, YouTubers. They're not, like, they don't
Chesh
make content.
has been pretending to live in, like, the southern parts of Canada when really, actually, she's got the only connection in all of, like, northern Nunavut or something.
I live in the middle of nowhere, Yukon.
Yeah.
I would love that. Please, guys, could you please give me enough money to do that? I would adore that.
Why would you want to live in the middle of nowhere, Yukon?
Because there's nobody there.
I mean, okay, but like, there's warmer places.
And it's beautiful.
Eh.
They tested in a worldwide reputation laboratory.
I think what you mean is it's a world famous or like a world renowned or something. But you know what? Again, English is second language. We're not gonna.
Yeah, we won't pick on him for that. And
the results you can see in the graph here are basically you have it centering between 0.2 and 0.4. So you have substantial amounts of carbon at a very young age. If you remember that graph I showed you.
Well, okay, but I don't know what those numbers are. 0.1 what?
This doesn't mean anything. Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
Okay.
Oh, his notes. Oh, ew. Okay.
No. We're on. So this would be everything they're measuring are under 10,000 years old. And yet it's supposed to be 50 and 300 million.
Yeah, but taking a drink. Florence.
How many times do I have to explain this to you, old man?
You just decided arbitrarily that no dates under 10,000 count because you're a young Earth creationist. That's not actually what that means. That's what that means if you're right about that, but you're not.
Your date of 6,000 years is almost exclusively arbitrary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's like a rough number game that you can play with the Old Testament, but that's like, it's still a rough number game. It's not an exact number.
Exactly. All right, here we go.
Fascinating stuff. Contamination error we're taking into account.
Yeah.
In conclusion, organic material coming from virtually any stratum contains a comparable level of C14, C12. The direct conclusion is that
Hey, Lawrence, you said that organic material, but you were also previously talking about inorganic material. So, like, what are we doing here?
Geological strata were formed rapidly and recently, as would be expected from a recent global flood scenario.
No, Lawrence, if everything died in a flood during the same year, everything older than 4.5 thousand years should give the same amount of carbon-14. But it doesn't, and your chart showed that. So even if we want to say that this chart invalidates carbon-14 dating, it doesn't actually correspond to a flood. It still invalidates the flood. Lawrence, I'm taking another drink. What is wrong with this man?
I don't want to. I don't want it.
This was your idea. I warned Chesh. You know that. When Chesh came to me with this, and she was like, hey, we should do this guy. And I was like, you know you're getting into a big thing, right? Like, this is going to be a series. I was like, yeah, I'm fine with that. I want that. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's true. He did say that.
And then every time since then, Chesh was like, why did I do this? Why am I here? This is horrible. I'm like, yeah, I know. I warned you. Chesh is her own worst enemy, and she's muted. I mean, I didn't mute you. I'm gonna hit play. I still can't.
Oh, sorry, that was me. I was I was typing something. It's just that I just wanted to do something fun with Dapper. Why am I being punished?
I'll take a drink for Chesh as a professional right there. I mean, I have fun with this show. I feel like you do too.
I have a lot of fun here, yeah.
Yeah.
I like your audience. They're pretty cool. I want to steal them and make them my own.
Well, hey, everybody, go subscribe to Chesh. I think she's linked in the description.
Maybe just go subscribe to Debate Hub because there's a thing coming out right after this.
I think that's also linked. Wait, what's coming out after this? Is it the Shelton?
No, there's a premiere coming out after this. But the next debate is Chris Shelton and FTFE, which is going to be really interesting. That's next week.
Then I'm still going to do my Star Trek afterwards. So people, you have to choose. You have to choose between me and Chesh. And yeah, I'm the right one. Choose me. No. But after Star Trek, go watch her thing and hit like and hype it.
Yeah, do that, please.
Okay. For $10, Lieutenant Matt the Navigator says, Dapper lives somewhere that resembles and has similar climate to Permian Central Pangea. It's not quite that bad, but yeah, it's close. He probably has a slightly different idea on what's a good place to live. That's correct.
Than me?
Climate-wise, yeah. Climate-wise, you and I have very different ideas about ideal climates.
Correct.
Which
we are very different about that.
Might not matter for all that long, but that's okay. Oh, and Dark Law, who's been a member for 45 months. My goodness.
Cheers.
Sends Godzilla, a Mothra, and a Ghidorah. We'll take a drink for that. Thank you. All right.
That's why this afternoon, at the same time as Dominic's doing his workshop, I'm going to be doing a workshop on the global flood, where we take a look, is there evidence for a global flood?
We're going to cover that too, I think. So,
get
ready.
Yeah, we found more than one of these. This is one talk.
This is the second one.
Yeah, but isn't this one the same, like part of the same?
Oh, it's part of the same series, yeah. But each talk has like a different subject or something. So,
yeah.
Olivia Williams, Purple Fairies, who's been a member for 48 months, says Dapper lives on Arrakis with a Ghidorah. It's definitely not as dry as Arrakis is. We actually do have rain here. I think it's something stupid. Like we get like 10 centimeters of rain a year or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's so low. It's so low. But it's not zero.
Oh my god, hold on. Now I'm going to check where mine is.
Actually, I'm going to double check what it is here because I'm pulling that out of my memory. So let's see. All
right, how close did you get? Did you pick your
I was
state?
Off. I went with my city. It's 30.5 centimeters, but it's still really low.
Okay, so if I go for Toronto, which is relatively close, in April of this year, 114.5 millimeters of precipitation.
Okay, but what is it on? What's the average for a year, though?
Let's see if I can find it. That's the monthly data. Can I find the data for the year? I got the average for Ontario and Eastern. So Toronto. Okay, here it is. 831 millimeters.
Yeah. So
if you want it in inches, it's 32.7.
More than so you get. Really, that's not that much. Why is Toronto so dry?
If you want a little bit closer to me, you can go with I'm not too far from Waterloo, which is 36.1 or 916.
Still, more than twice as much as I'm getting. Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $5 says, does Central Pangea make any sense, or should it just be Central Earth? No, Central Pangea makes sense, because Central Earth doesn't mean anything unless you mean the core of the planet. So, Central Pangea works. Because, like, there's other
Owen
stuff.
Sound is crazy. Owen Sound has 1,114 or 43.9.
Jeez, you're just basically underwater at that point.
Yeah, this is just the average amount of rain and snow in a year.
All right, I'm going to hit play.
Now let's continue about the young Earth age. So what else we have? We have degradation of the magnetic field. So the Earth has a magnetic field.
Correct. Take a drink. I'm thirsty.
Hear that? Oh, you're so desperate.
I know.
He's correct. The Earth has a magnetic field.
He's not wrong. It does. He's right about that.
Yeah, but like how far, like it's always like in the second half of these where we get to the last third where we're like, you know what, he's right about that.
It's true. We get so generous about it. For $2, Grungavaldi Gurnison says, my city gets 42 to 45 inches per year. Jeez.
Yeah, that's a little bit more than my area.
I would drown.
Oh, you want like Victoria, BC? Like British Columbia? I imagine British Columbia gets more precipitation than Ontario does.
Well, they get a lot more days of rain, but I'm not sure that they get a huge amount more in terms of like absolute, because like it's that Pacific Northwest drizzle.
Yeah, I just imagine being like right beside the ocean gets you a little bit more.
Right, yeah, but you're right beside the Great Lakes, which is basically the same thing.
That's true. Okay, you want Vancouver is 57.3 inches and 1,457 for Vancouver. Where's Victoria? Oh my God. Okay, well, Victoria's less. Victoria's less at 27.8 and 705. However, are you ready? Are you ready for this? Tofino.
Never heard of it.
Gets 128.8 inches and 3,271 millimeters. Holy balls.
That's over
that
a
means
meter.
They got 208 days of rain and snow.
Oh my God.
Yeah, if you guys want to find, if you guys want to learn about this or look up any, it's just current, like, here you go. This is the website I'm using. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play. We're getting a little. Actually, you know what?
God.
No, we're gonna leave the degradation of Earth's magnetic field, which is such a stupid way to put it. But that's clearly once again an English as a second language thing. No native English speaker would call this the degradation of Earth's atmosphere, but whatever. Hey, we got through over 9 minutes of this today, Chesh. We did pretty well.
That is pretty good for us. I'm gonna look up where Tofino, BC is because I want to. Where is this? Oh.
What?
Where? Oh, it's a part of Vancouver Island.
Okay.
It's like almost directly the other side of Nanaimo. So like there's Vancouver, which is just above the border from the United States, right? On the mainland. And then there's like the Vancouver Island, and Victoria is on the tip of Vancouver Island towards the United States, right? So it dips down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nanaimo is a little bit north of if you follow Vancouver Island around where it curves, Nanaimo's right there. And then directly across on the other side of the island is Tofino.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start doing some wrap-up stuff because I don't really want to start a whole new topic this late into it and then just have to split that over 2 different like episodes. That seems silly to me.
That's valid.
Yeah. And we're probably not going to go a whole other hour because like Chesh has got stuff to do. So what we're going to do then is I will say, Chesh, if you have anything that you want to let people know about, like maybe things coming up right after this, do. And while that's going, I will check to see if we can get bent pizza. I think we still need a little bit over $40. So we'll see what happens.
Manya and I, a year or two ago, did a debate, loose term of debate, with a guy named Dr. Witnesser who was trying to preach to children.
Oh, yeah.
That is premiering on Debate Hub right after this.
Now he's currently going by...
Yeah.
What was it? Faithful Sheriff,
Peanut?
I think.
Faithful Sheriff?
Yeah.
The Peanut? Yeah.
Also, he doesn't know what the word yonder means, but he uses it all the time.
Oh, boy.
But he uses it wrong.
Of course he does it. Of course he does. So that's premiering, hopefully. Hopefully I set it up right. Maybe I set it up right. I'm going to double check it just in case, because now I'm paranoid. It is scheduled.
Okay.
Is it scheduled to premiere? No, it's scheduled to go public. Hold on, let me fix that. Anyway, that's happening.
Okay. What else you got coming up?
I got a debate coming up over on Debate Hub as well. At 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time next Tuesday with Chris Shelton and Craig, FTFE. That'll be interesting, in my opinion, because like both of them are really. I think you described it pretty well. You said both of them are really convinced that they're right.
Yes, they are, and both of them are going to come at this, I think, in good faith and with like.
Yes.
They're both reasonable people.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not going to be... I don't think it's going to turn into a screaming match. So that'll be good. I think that... And, like, they're both coming at it from very different places. Like, FTFE's really, like, knows the Flat Earth community really well. And Chris knows coercive control and, like, really well. Like, that's his profession. So it's going to be really interesting that in that regard. So definitely join for that. Volcanoes is on Friday, and I have another recording session with Egyptomaniac soon. So there's going to be some... I'm doing a thing where I'm basically getting people who are either educated or so much into this thing that they're almost honorarily educated in their thing that they're interested in, to do lectures, which is kind of like a Debate Hub version of a TED Talk. So if you guys are interested in that, definitely come and check that out.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to say thank you very much to Joshua Geese, who just gifted 10 Dapper Dinosaur memberships, and I took 10 drinks while Chesh was talking, and I almost immediately felt that.
I will do that as well.
And then Lieutenant Matt the Navigator for $2 says, "We'll see you yonder Tuesday." Yeah, basically, that is the kind of thing that the Faithful Sheriff says, and it's so annoying, because I know what the word yonder means. And he will use it to mean here, which is the exact opposite of what it means. So...
that is so bad, first off. Second off, that is also like, at one point I had to yell at Manya during this debate because she kept it. I'm like, let him talk.
I do remember that.
It was pretty funny.
Stephen G. Clinner for $5 says, "Yonder, I've never even met her." Yeah.
I get irritated because he likes to like have his avatar fart at random times, and I get offended because there is nothing like a good fart joke.
And he's
fart jokes are not necessarily easy to do. They seem easy, but they're not. Timing a fart joke is like an art form. But fart jokes will never not be funny when they're good. So, you know.
Yeah. All right. So, that does in fact get bent some pizza and another avatar. Yeah. So another fancy avatar. So thank you there. I'm going to actually just tell people what yonder actually means real quick.
Do it.
So,
yeah.
In standard English, in basically everywhere, there are two pronouns called relative pronouns. That's, like here and there, right? So those tell you that something is either approximately near or far. But in some varieties of English, as well as many other languages, there's a third category for very far. And in those categories, or those dialects of English that have this distinction, the word is usually yonder, right? So it's here, there, and yonder. So here is the area around you. There is other areas, but that aren't too far. And yonder is real far. Now, where those lines are is arbitrary, right? It depends on context. It depends on how you're feeling. But yonder is the kind of thing that it takes a while to get to. And it's far from where the speaker is. So the Faithful Sheriff will say like, "Oh, you got yonder, huh?" Talking about someone who just got to his location in his Rust server. It's like, no, they got here, because you're here. Here. They came from yonder, you can say that. But no, he doesn't know what the word yonder means. So he just uses it randomly. And it really pisses me off.
That's not how that works.
No.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
He does a lot of things that piss me off, and most of them are just being like just a bad person.
Yeah, that one is just dumb, and it's not like morally questionable, whereas a lot of the stuff he does is morally and ethically dubious. At the
he admitted it. You go and watch this debate, and you tell me if I'm wrong. He admitted that what he was doing was morally wrong.
He did.
Dapper thinks he did, but you guys tell me if you agree with Dapper or not.
All right, so here's what's coming up. Thursday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we have a new video dropping. If you have early access, you might have already seen it. But this one is about Calvin Smith from Answers in Genesis Canada. That's what it is. Basically, just giving me a bunch of homework. Like, so much homework.
The ministry in Canada is like, it seems so much worse to me.
I think Calvin Smith is more annoying than Ken Ham is. He has a more got a more slappable demeanor.
It's because smug. Like that you don't get away with this kind of stuff in Canada very easily. Like, it just doesn't fly very well, so you have to be like exceptionally the worst.
Yeah. So that's Thursday. Then Friday we should be doing another episode of Chesh's Dungeon. We're doing Dungeons and Dragons over on Top Hats Off, and that should be at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Then on Saturday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be back for some more Amin Hillman, talking about how Hebrew is a language that was made up by Greek-speaking people in Alexandria like 2,000 years ago, which is super dumb. Then on next Tuesday should be Matt with Maddie. I do have to double check with Maddie to make sure that she's good for that, but she almost always is. So yeah, that's what's coming out. And in the meantime, I want to say thank you so much for everyone who has been supporting me with the fundraiser, who's been supporting here with super chats, gifted memberships, all that stuff. It really does mean the world. And I don't think you guys can understand how much it means to me that I have the support of such a great audience. But yeah, after this, you can head over to Chesh's channel to watch that premiere, or if you want, you can come over to my Discord and we're going to watch a couple episodes of Star Trek Enterprise. So there you go. The last thing that we will say is that ICE must be abolished.
Hey, before you leave, I just want to take a second to thank my patrons and channel members, especially those pledging $20 or above. Siloof, Ben Tovind, Tapioca Weasel, Mikau Dominiak, Sammy LaFleur, Edwin M., Kenneth Swenson, John Ackerman, Sphincter of Doom, Regios, Landon Knoll, Ian Chen, Eleron Teller, Phil Rivara, David Hercules, Joshua Geese, Dan Sheedy, Pegajace, The Plastic Mouse, Gordon Love Science, Amber Athelian, Prixie Purple, Agricola Sequa, and Me, Myself, and I. It's because of my channel members and patrons whom you're seeing on screen that this channel can stay afloat. Without you, it would all shut down. If you want to join the team, there's a link to join the channel below this video, and there's a link to join the Patreon in the description. On the Patreon, you can get a 15% discount for pledging annually, and either way, you get early access to virtually all of my scripted videos months before they come out for the general public. Thanks for watching.